Look at the device you were using to watch this video right now. A smartphone, a laptop, maybe a tablet. You trust it. You sleep next to it on your nightstand. You hold it against your face. You carry it into your most private spaces. It is your ultimate connection to the world, your bank account, your family, and your private life. You view it as a tool, a harmless piece of glass, metal, and silicon. But what if the tool was actually a trap? In a single chaotic afternoon in September 2024, the psychological illusion of safe technology was shattered forever. Across the streets, markets, and homes of Lebanon and Syria, thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies, simple, outdated, low-tech communication tools exploded simultaneously. People were buying groceries, they were driving cars, they were sitting in cafes, and in a fraction of a second, the devices in their pockets detonated. It wasn't a spontaneous software glitch. It wasn't a lithium-ion battery fire caused by overheating. It was a cold, mathematically calculated intelligence operation that turned everyday consumer objects into remote-controlled claymore mines. This terrifying event marked the dawn of a new, ruthless era. We have officially entered the age of asymmetric annihilation. And the chilling truth that world governments are refusing to tell you is this: the front line of the next global world war isn't a distant, muddy battlefield. It isn't in the sky. It's inside your home. It's on your desk. It's inside your pocket. For decades, cybersecurity experts and the mainstream media conditioned us to believe that the greatest threat to our electronics was digital. We pictured a rogue hacker sitting in a dark, neon-lit basement, typing furious lines of code to steal our passwords or freeze our bank accounts. We built massive digital firewalls, bought expensive antivirus software, and used encrypted messaging apps. We thought we were safe. We were entirely wrong. The real threat is physical. It is the supply chain ghost. In the Lebanon pager operation, the attackers didn't need to hack the devices through the internet. They did something much more invasive. They infiltrated the global manufacturing ecosystem. Investigations revealed a shadowy network of shell companies stretching from Taiwan to Hungary. Somewhere along that convoluted path between the sterile assembly line and the delivery truck, the hardware was physically compromised. A few grams of PETN, one of the most powerful and elusive high explosives in the world, were invisibly integrated directly into the motherboards and battery casings. PETN is incredibly difficult to detect. It bypasses standard airport X-ray scanners. It doesn't trigger traditional bomb-sniffing dogs. Imagine the sheer logistical precision required to pull this off. Thousands of devices were manufactured, boxed, shipped across international borders, passed through customs inspections, and sat in distribution warehouses for months, all of them carrying a lethal, silent secret. This is the ultimate Trojan horse of the 21st century. It renders every digital firewall and every piece of military-grade encryption completely useless. Because how do you protect yourself, your family, or your nation against a device that was fundamentally engineered to kill you before it even reached your hand? Historically, wars were fought symmetrically. Tanks fought tanks, jets fought jets. But why spend $50 billion developing a fleet of stealth bombers or $13 billion building a single Ford-class aircraft carrier when you can completely paralyze an entire enemy nation with a single line of malicious code or a concentrated radio frequency? This is asymmetric warfare, where a smaller, highly intelligent force can cripple a massive superpower by targeting its infrastructure rather than its military. One side has the ballistic missiles, the other side controls the supply chain. We saw the prototype of this warfare in 2010 with the Stuxnet computer worm. It was a malicious computer program designed specifically to hunt down and physically destroy the centrifuges in Iran's nuclear facilities. Stuxnet proved that digital code could cross over and cause catastrophic physical destruction. But the Lebanon attack took it to a terrifying new extreme. In Lebanon, roughly 1,500 fighters and operatives were taken out of action in mere seconds. Not a single enemy soldier crossed the border, not a single shot was fired from a rifle. For a global superpower like the United States, this is a doomsday scenario. The entire U.S. military and economic machine relies heavily on global, just-in-time logistics. Modern warfare requires thousands of microchips for precision-guided munitions, drone batteries, and tactical radios. If an adversary can secretly weaponize a commercial pager shipped to the Middle East, they can absolutely weaponize a commercial drone battery, a military-grade communication radio, or even the digital sensors that regulate the cooling systems in an American nuclear power plant. We are now living in a fragile world where the hardware itself is the weapon, and the kill switch is held securely by a foreign intelligence agency on the other side of the planet. Now, let's bring this threat home. Let's talk about the immediate, undeniable danger to you, the American citizen. The United States is without question the world's largest consumer of advanced electronics, but America manufactures almost none of them. The brutal economic reality is that over 70% of your daily devices are manufactured overseas. From the smart fridge in your kitchen, to the biometric lock on your front door, to the central processing computer in your electric vehicle, the vast majority of these components are built in Asia, predominantly in massive factory cities in China, like Shenzhen. As geopolitical tensions exponentially rise between Washington and Beijing over trade, semiconductor supremacy, and the sovereignty of Taiwan, the Trojan horse threat transitions from a theoretical conspiracy into an imminent reality. If a full-scale kinetic conflict breaks out over the Taiwan Strait, the Chinese military doesn't necessarily need to launch an intercontinental missile at Los Angeles or New York. They just need to activate the dormant kill switches already embedded in the hundreds of millions of devices currently sitting inside American homes, businesses, and government offices. Imagine the absolute chaos. Imagine driving down the highway at 70 miles per hour, and your electric vehicle's central computer is remotely hijacked, causing the car to suddenly accelerate and lock the steering wheel, turning a family car into a 2-ton remote-controlled missile. Imagine the millions of smart home security systems simultaneously locking citizens inside their own houses, while the smart thermostats overheat and cause electrical fires. Or, most terrifyingly, imagine millions of smartphones across the country overheating and exploding at the exact same synchronized moment, completely overwhelming the medical system and creating nationwide panic. It sounds exactly like a dystopian science fiction movie, but after watching the events unfold in Lebanon, we now know for an absolute fact that it is technically possible. The infrastructure is already there, the devices are already in your house, and it is entirely possible that the trap has already been set. As a society, we made a fatal trade. We willingly sacrificed our national security and personal safety for cheap electronics, fast shipping, and seamless convenience. We allowed corporate greed to outsource our manufacturing, allowing our greatest global rivals to physically build the very tools we depend on for our daily survival. The era of the safe device is over. We are currently surrounded by billions of internet-connected sensors, high-definition microphones, and volatile lithium-ion batteries. Every single one of them represents a compromised node. Every single one of them can be weaponized against the very people who bought them. The question is no longer if your everyday electronics can be turned into weapons. The technology has already been proven. The question is simply when the activation signal will be sent. The geopolitical borders of the world are no longer silent, and they are no longer thousands of miles away across the ocean. They have crossed your threshold. They are inside your living room. They are resting on your nightstand. They are inside your pocket. Are you prepared for the day your technology turns on you? How many foreign-made devices are sitting in your room right now? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. For more hidden geopolitical truths that the mainstream media refuses to cover, subscribe to The Silent Borders.